Democrats rejected a plank in the party platform that would oppose the controversial Trans-Pacific Partnership deal. Now, CNN reports that Clinton's supporters had voted down an amendment to basically specifically reject the TPP the TPP deal. Not only that, but proposals denouncing Israeli settlement of Gaza, as well as banning fracking, were also rejected. Now, I want to focus here on the TPP language. Now, it was made pretty clear by Bernie Sanders and his supporters that the top priority was this trade deal. Now, it was actually also the biggest point of contention between the two different camps, between Clinton and Sanders. Now, they both got together and actually did some progressive things. They passed an amendment saying that, hey, we should put this in the party platform that a living wage is what we're going to shoot for. We're going to shoot for a $15 minimum wage that will go up, that will be indexed to inflation. Now, let's see. There was also an amendment calling climate change a pretty big deal. Now, what sucks is that they rejected an amendment that would ban fracking, that would call for the banning of fracking in the Democratic Party. Now, you'd think if you were pretty serious about climate change that you would want to ban fracking as well. Not only does it get into the drinking water, but it also has a lot of methane emissions. Now, methane, that stays in the atmosphere for a longer period of time and is more potent than carbon. I mean, it stays in the atmosphere a shorter amount of time than carbon, but is much more potent, right? So that's a very, very important distinction there. Banning fracking would actually reduce those emissions, that methane. Now, as I said, the differences between the two camps, and this is from Common Dreams. When their proposal to oppose the Trans-Pacific or the Pacific Rim deal was rejected, Sanders supporters shouted "shame" and "fake progressive" at Clinton backers on the Democratic National Committee's platform panel. Now, in fact, I do have some of the audio from that, and I want you guys to listen to this. This is from the DNC platform committee hearing.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Okay, that's obviously not real, but okay. So now the conventional wisdom of that vote and why they rejected it is that by keeping, keeping opposition to the TPP out of the platform, Democrats would avoid embarrassing President Obama. Why? Because President Obama has been pushing for this trade deal for a very long time. Okay, he's really been pushing for this deal. Now, I think that it's partly that, and partly the fact that that the establishment really wants this trade deal. Now remember, there are corporate lobbyists that have been placed on this platform by Hillary Clinton and the DNC. And of course, a lot of these corporations that are represented are going to be, well, they're going to get a lot of good stuff, a lot of goodies in the TPP. That's going to help them quite a bit. They want this trade deal because it's a massive corporate giveaway. Now, to be fair, Democrats also approved an amendment to the platform proposed by one of the trade unions, which is the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, and this was put forward by Lee Saunders, which laid out priorities that trade deals should address, including labor policies, the environment, and currency manipulation. So now here's where it got kind of contentious on this. Now, Ben Jealous, who was a Sanders pick, sought to tweak Saunders' proposal that would have explicitly stated that those reasons are why Democrats oppose the TPP. Now, he ran into opposition as Clinton's camp, who was supporting the White House and corporations, and led on the floor by Saunders, called it unnecessary. Now, wait a minute. It is necessary, because the TPP right now, as we know it, doesn't help any of those things. It doesn't protect any of those things. What we know about the TPP is that it will override labor policy and environmental policy. Leaks of the TPP deal show that corporations could sue member nations over regulations that they think will impact their bottom line, impact future profits. And the judges that are litigating these things, that are supposed to rule on all of this, is essentially nothing but a revolving panel of lawyers that can and have been hired to represent those same corporate interests. Now, the problem with that is that there's a conflict of interest there. And it makes you wonder, gee, how are they going to vote? Are they going to vote fairly, or are they going to vote for the people who pay them? That's human nature. That's human nature. Most people will try to get a profit out of it. And so that's one of the big problems with the Trans-Pacific Partnership is that panel of judges. Okay. Now, the article notes, and this is important, that none of the pro-Clinton Democrats actually spoke in favor of this trade deal. So they won't speak against it, but they also won't speak for it. Why? It's because it's politically toxic. Sanders has made it a big deal. Donald Trump's made it a big deal. And look, let's be honest, I'm not against trade. None of us are against trade. Democrats, right? But what we saw, what happened because of NAFTA, is that, look, these big corporations, they took their toys, they took their factories, and they ran down to Mexico. All to exploit cheap labor and less environmental regulation. And then they took and they sold those cheaply made goods back to America. That's kind of the problem. That's the problem with the free trade. Now, I'm not against trade. I'm against free trade. We need fair trade that actually protects our workers. Now, for her part, Clinton claims to be in favor of fair trade, but I don't know if Hillary Clinton is honestly going to go against TPP because it might be bad for workers, or that she's only doing it because both of her opponents, Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, have been against it, and they built a huge base of support on those policies. Now, I remember that Hillary Clinton once called it the gold standard of trade, and yet Clinton and these Democrats are saying, look, we're against it, but they're not actually showing us that they're against it by putting this in the platform. So, in fact, Jim Hightower from Hightower Lowdown, if you've ever heard of that, proposed an amendment, he's a Sanders pick, by the way, that denounced the TPP and said that Democrats should oppose in actually giving it a vote, even in a lame duck session of Congress before the next president is sworn in. That amendment, too, was unfortunately rejected. So, Democrats, are you against it, or is this just lip service from the establishment? Now, I guess the answer to that we're going to find out in Philly. Sanders supporter Jonathan Ticini said they plan to file a minority report calling for a vote against the Trans-Pacific Partnership on the floor of the DNC convention in Philly. So believe you me, man, this fight on trade is far from over. So, keep fighting the good fight, keep, expressing how you're against this trade deal as it stands, and, make your voices heard, especially when it comes to the DNC convention in Philly, because that's exactly where it's going.